Splashing water, a desperate scream ripped through the peaceful air, and then an eerie silence. Jack, the notorious scoundrel's son, was struggling in the village pond, exactly like the tragedy that had once plunged Evelyn into the abyss of injustice in her previous life. Was history repeating itself, or was this a chance to rewrite destiny? Would a heroic act be enough to change the flow of fate, or was it merely a pawn in a larger game, manipulated by someone pulling the strings? That fateful day, in my memory, was always tainted by the darkness of injustice. It wasn't just Jack's death, but also the death of faith, of honor, and finally, of my beloved grandmother. Grace, with her angelic appearance and tearful voice, painted a picture of me as the villain, the one who, due to conflict, pushed a life into the cold depths of the pond. The villagers, who blindly believed in the angel Grace, turned me into a monster overnight. The whispers, the disgusted looks, everyone's ostracism of it choked my life, little by little. In the past few days, Millstone Village, in my eyes, was no longer as peaceful as before. Every road, every corner harbored hidden dangers that I had once overlooked. Today, the June sun cast a golden glow over the village, but a sense of unease rose within me. This was the day. The fateful day Jack would have an accident at the village pond. I dressed simply, my hair neatly tied up, like an ordinary villager strolling around. However, my eyes never stopped observing, scrutinizing. I saw Grace heading towards the pond. She wore a pure white dress, her hair flowing in the wind, creating a heartbreakingly innocent image. But I knew it was just a facade. She was with Lily, the shy and quiet neighbor girl. Grace hugged Lily, her face gently asking questions. My heart tightened. Lily was a child who trusted Grace implicitly. She was perfectly building her image, leaving no loopholes. Jack, the son of notorious loan shark Old Man Smith, also appeared at the pond. The boy was skinny, his eyes shifty, completely different from the arrogance people usually attributed to him. He and his friends were playing by the pond, their innocent laughter breaking the tension in my heart. I hid behind a thick bush, trying to keep my breathing even. I saw Grace secretly pull out her phone, the lens pointed directly at Jack. Her hand trembled slightly, but her eyes gleamed with terrifying determination. Every small detail matched my memories from my previous life. Her plan was about to unfold. Jack and his friends began pushing each other near the water's edge. Their laughter mingled with the gentle lapping of water against the shore. Grace gripped her phone tightly, her finger ready to press record. I knew she would wait for the exact moment Jack fell to capture it, to turn it into evidence for the crime she would pin on me. Boom! A loud sound echoed, not the splash of water. A large rock from somewhere rolled down, sliding off the steep bank and creating a resounding thud that startled all the children. Jack, in a moment of panic, lost his balance and slipped. He stumbled, his hands flailing in the air. I didn't hesitate for a second. I lunged forward, fast as an arrow. "Jack, be careful!" My scream tore through the air. I reached out, grabbing Jack's arm just as he was about to plunge into the deep water. The strong pull made us both sway. I felt Jack's weight, his skinny body full of resistance. "Are you okay, Jack?" I asked urgently, my voice hoarse from tension. My hand gripped his arm tightly, as if to hold him back from the abyss of fate. Jack was still in a panic, his eyes wide as he looked at me. He nodded, his lips moving, unable to speak. A few nearby villagers, drawn by the sound and my shout, rushed over. They looked at me in surprise, then at Jack, and finally at Grace. Grace stood stunned, her phone still raised, her face pale, her eyes fixed on me with undisguised hatred. She couldn't believe what she was witnessing. Her perfect plan had been ruined by me. "Evelyn, what are you doing here?" Grace stammered, her voice trembling. She tried to lower her phone, but it was too late. A few eyes had already begun to suspect. I looked straight into Grace's eyes, a faint, meaningful smile appearing on my lips. A smile of triumph, but also full of hidden meaning. I saved that boy, Grace, right before a tragedy happened. Or did you want to see another tragedy unfold? I intentionally emphasized the word tragedy, making her flinch. I didn't say much. That look was enough. She understood. She knew I had seen everything. The crowd began to murmur. Evelyn saved Jack? Thank goodness otherwise. Grace's stunned, slightly panicked expression didn't escape their notice. She tried to regain her composure, but her trembling hands betrayed the fear rising within her. Her perfect plan had been shattered. Some people began to look at Grace with scrutinizing eyes, especially after seeing her still holding her phone and looking rather unhappy. I gently released Jack, but still held his hand to reassure him. "Everyone, you can go home now. Jack's okay." Jack, after a few minutes of calming down, suddenly looked at me. "Thank you, Evelyn. You saved me," he said softly, but loud enough for those around to hear. Grace stood frozen. The smile on her lips vanished. From a saintly flower, she now looked like someone whose crime had been exposed. The gentle mask began to crack. I looked at Jack, who was still trembling but safe. A sense of relief spread through my body. I had saved the boy. And more importantly, I had saved myself from the second death, the death of my honor and love. I whispered to myself, "This is just the beginning, Grace. You will never be able to destroy me again." However, as I turned to walk away, an unexpected voice rang out from the crowd. It was Mr. Cooper, the kindest and most respected man in the village, who had always trusted Grace unconditionally. "Wait, Evelyn." Mr. Cooper approached, his eyes thoughtful. "Jack, what did you just say?" Jack hesitated, glanced at Grace, then turned to me. "Evelyn saved me, Mr. Cooper. I almost fell into the water, but Evelyn pulled me back." Mr. Cooper nodded, then suddenly turned to Grace. "Grace, what were you standing there doing? Why didn't you help Jack?" Grace flinched, her face pale. I was too surprised, sir. I didn't have time to react." Her voice trembled, no longer its usual gentle tone. Mr. Cooper narrowed his eyes at Grace. "But you were holding your phone too. Take a picture?" he asked, his eyes full of suspicion. Grace couldn't answer. She couldn't deny it. The villagers began to murmur louder, their suspicious glances now undisguised. Grace retreated, her face white, her fearful eyes sweeping across the crowd. She gritted her teeth, anger and frustration clearly visible. Nothing was going according to the script she knew. Her perfect plan had been broken. I returned home, my heart heavy. Grandma Rose was sleeping peacefully, but my mind couldn't rest. Just then, my phone in my pocket vibrated. A new message from the same unknown number. I opened it, my chest tightening. It was a picture. It was a picture of me grasping Jack's hand, my face full of tension and determination. The picture was taken from a hidden angle, very professionally. It wasn't an accidental photo, it was clear evidence that I was being watched every moment. And below the picture was the cold, challenging message. "Well, you're fast. But the game has only just begun." I froze, my eyes fixed on the words, then on the picture. Grace's anger was clearly conveyed through this message. She was furious that I had dared to disrupt everything according to her script, not just once, but twice. Grace has the ability to see or is provided with information about the future. That's why she knew Jack would fall into the pond, knew I would be at the bakery. This makes her a far more dangerous enemy, as she can foresee my moves. Evelyn saved Jack. A seemingly unavoidable tragedy was averted, a wicked plan thwarted. Just when victory seemed within reach, she received a chilling photo from the shadows and a terrifying message. The game has only just begun. Grace is not just a liar. She knows Evelyn's every move, every twist of predetermined fate. She is angry, not because she lost an opportunity to frame Evelyn, but because the rigid timeline in her hands has been disrupted. Grace is one step ahead of Evelyn, every step of the way. Can Evelyn escape the predetermined chessboard? Or will she forever struggle in her destined fate? Stay tuned for episode 4, when the first clues about Grace and her strange abilities will slowly be revealed.